Toyota might just be giving us the best anti-Tesla. If you're in the market for an EV, chances are you're looking at a Tesla, because let's be honest, that's the default choice. However, Toyota really wants to change that with 3 really compelling products. They have the BZ, which I drove previously, fantastic vehicle. And at the price point, it's just right. If you don't need the overall size, well, you got the CHR. But today we got this. This is the 2026 BZ Woodland, which is essentially like the Outback version of the BZ. Because while they call it an SUV, it's really just a lifted wagon. So let me show you everything you need to know about it, starting from the outside. On the front, well, you get this nice and aggressive front bumper headlamp treatment. I love the LED daytime running light stretching the entire width of the vehicle. On the side, you get these 18-inch wheels with AT tires, optional extra, but it does, well, kind of beef up that look to make it look a little off-roady. Although chances are you're not gonna really take this off-road. But if you do get a lifted ride height comparing to the standard BZ. And, well, with the plastic body cladding on the side, even if there's shrubs and whatnot, at least you don't have to worry about pinstriping the paint too much. Of course, you do have your charge port here on the side, and it is the North American standard or Tesla style charger. Moving along, another part that I really love about the BZ Woodland is not only do you have the proximity door locks on the front door, but you also have it on the rear. So when you're loading kids up or anything like that, well, it's easy access like that. Around the back is where you see the biggest changes. Unlike the BZ as well as the CHR, which has that kind of slanted roof, well, this is a full-on station wagon or SUV. It goes all the way to the back, then comes down, giving you a ton of space on the inside. We'll get to that, but check out the light bar. I'm a sucker for a light bar, and Toyota give me the best light bar back here. What's kind of weird is, well, the Toyota emblem is like the smallest thing ever, but I mean, I guess they don't have to brag about it, but you still get a big old Woodland badge on the side. You can actually tow 3,500 pounds with the Woodland BC, which is actually quite respectable. If I open up the trunk here, like I said, this is the biggest change with the Woodland here. With 33.8 cubic feet, or if you fold down the rear seats, 74.9 cubic feet, it's a whole lot of space. And what's more is, well, you get a little bit more storage underneath, and below that, well, that's where you have all your tools and whatnot. To make it even easier to fold down the rear seats, there are these poles here on the side allowing you to fold those rear seats nice and flat without going to the side and folding them down. And you get a 1,500 watt outlet on the side, so you can plug in your blender, microwave, what have you. That port, very, very handy for your outdoorsy excursions. But let's check out the inside. Space back here is not a problem. I'm 5'11", headroom plenty. I mean, it's actually a little bit more than the BZ because of, well, the roofline, obviously. In terms of legroom and knee room, that's the same as the standard BZ. No differences there. So sadly, I can't put my foot underneath the front seat if I have it all the way down. That is definitely a negative, but you know what? I cross my legs, comfortable enough. The seats back here, as this is the top trim, they're also heated. I have my vents here and 2 USB-C ports to charge my devices. I don't get baby shades or anything like that, but I do get my cup holders with a little slot here in the center for knickknacks and whatnot for road trips. It's actually a great space to be. It's definitely not claustrophobic. You got this giant sunroof right above you, lets in plenty of light. Sadly, you can't open it to let fresh air in, but there is still a shade, so at least you can cover it whenever you're not using it. But let's move up front. The seats up here, fantastic. They have just the right amount of support, and because it's the top trim, they're heated and cooled. Sadly, no massaging, and I only get a 2-way lumbar support, but it's fine. I get what I need. Sadly, on the passenger side, no adjustable lumbar there at all, but you still get a powered seat, which some manufacturers don't give you. In front of me, It is a smaller steering wheel, which you will get used to, but at first, it's going to be a little bit weird just because of the overall size. And you get all your buttons right here next to your thumbs, so it's actually very usable. You get your paddle shifters behind to control the regen. No, there's no fake gears or anything like that. And behind that, you got your full digital cluster, which is a little bit higher than other vehicles, because most other cars you see the cluster in between the steering wheel, whereas this is on top. It's kind of like that Prius style. You get used to it. You have your steering wheel a little bit lower than normal, and you know what? It's absolutely fine. No heads-up display because of that, but I feel like, you know what? It's actually at a good space, and I don't mind it all that much. Gotten really used to it during my week with the BZ Woodland, and of course the BZ and the Prius from before. The main infotainment is this 14-inch screen. Lifted straight out of a Lexus product. You got your climate control on the side, you got your volume knob, everything is there. Sure, the climate control, it is baked in to the bottom of the screen, but you know what? It's still functionally very usable. It's, I would say, a little bit better than the previous generation, the BZ4X's infotainment display. And this, well, it's just snappy. You got wireless CarPlay and all that just works. There's no fuss about it. 2 wireless charger and then all the buttons that you need to control the vehicle in the center. It's a very straightforward cabin. So straightforward, in fact, you actually don't get a glove box, but you have this right here, which is dual actioned. So you can open it from either side, and there's a little bit of a hidden compartment underneath as well. So you know what? It's not too shabby, and there's a little bit more space underneath your wireless charger, where right now I have my owner's manual. Like I said, it's a straightforward cabin. There's no fuss about it. Everything, well, actually works like a car should, and that's the best part about this vehicle. Let's talk about the powertrain before we go for a drive. The BZ Woodland comes standard with a 74.7 kilowatt hour battery pack. With dual motors, you get 375 horsepower and 396 pound-feet of torque. Range is 418 kilometers, or about 260 miles. And with figures like that, you can reach highway speeds, well, in about 4.5 seconds. It's so quick. There's no reason why it needs to be as quick as it is. No one's drag racing their BZ Woodland, right? Never will any merging on highway or anything like that be ever like a problem. You just put that foot down and it really goes. It pushes you back into your seat and it just accelerates. But that's pretty typical electric vehicle behavior, right? What the BZ Woodland does really well is it drives like a car. Toyota has taken a lot of feedback from the BZ4X. There's no like one pedal driving in here. Sure, there's an X mode here for when you go off-road and an eco mode when you want to be a little bit more efficient, but there's no sport mode and there's no one pedal driving. The only thing you get are these paddles which can control your regen. So left paddle to increase it to the most, which, well, it does slow you down, but it definitely doesn't bring you to a stop. It's not designed for that. Like, they just gone away with it because Toyota owners don't care about that. Toyota owners want just a car. And that's the beauty of the BZ, as well as, of course, the BZ Woodland. It's just a car. When you drive it normally, it feels like a regular car. When you use the brakes, you have no idea when it's on regen or friction brakes. You as the driver will have zero idea because it blends it so well. Toyota has been making hybrids for years, and with their technology and just the way that they do things, I mean, it is top-notch stuff here. It really is. And they know their owners. They know their market so well. They don't need that one pedal driving to be successful. I'm sure you've sat in a Tesla that's driven by someone that maybe not the best when it comes to using that one pedal driving. And I'm sure you get nauseous in it. Because one pedal driving requires that finesse that not a lot of people can do. And that's fine. Not everyone can just be as gentle as some others, and that's totally fine. But Toyota's looking at it like, why bother? Why make it any more difficult than it should? Just remove it. Because previously on the BZ4X, it's right here. And now it's a view button, so I can get a 360 camera of everything. It's a really good 360 camera, actually. But like, it's just a car. It's quiet, it drives well. There's nothing to complain about here. It's that good. Now, when you want to be like an absolute idiot, you certainly can. You can press the traction control off button, and you can, in dirt anyways, get the vehicle quite sideways. Not that I've tried that. But you can have a little bit of fun. But it does rein you in. It is a Toyota after all. Oh, speaking of, one of the most and the biggest annoyances of this vehicle is when you go to reverse, it beeps on the inside to tell you you're in reverse. Why? I know I'm in reverse. I put it in reverse. Why do you have to tell me? That's just absurd to me. But it is a Toyota after all. And Toyota wants you to be safe. That's kind of like their key thing, right? They beep and bong at you with absolutely everything. It is very annoying. But at least, like I said, keeps you safe. I really like the BZ Woodland. And the price, honestly, the price isn't too bad. At just below 68,000 Canadian dollars, I think it's exactly where it needs to be competitive. Many vehicles of this size, like for example, the Passport, as well as the Outback, it's already nearing that territory without being an EV. And generally speaking, an EV does have a price delta just because of batteries and whatnot. So at the price that it is, I think it's very competitive. I don't think the Woodland's the one to go for most people. Standard BZ, or even if you don't need that extra space, the CHR is a better buy. Because like my in-laws are getting a CHR because it's like 41,000 Canadian dollars for a mid-trim like all-wheel drive XSE, and you just can't beat it. And for my in-laws, they want a vehicle that is a car. They don't want to use their phone to unlock their vehicle. Like, sure, I get that some other manufacturers, you just leave the phone in your pocket, you go up to the car and unlocks, or you use the key, you know, on the B pillar, and that's completely fine. But for my in-laws, they're a little bit older. They don't want stuff like that. They want a car. And the BZ is a car. The CHR is a car. And that's the best thing about it. It's the perfect anti-Tesla. So if you're in the market for an EV, a good one that is nice and simple with easy to use interior controls without, well, just being too minimalistic, definitely take a look at the BZ Woodland here, BZ as well as the CHR. 3 different sizes, just like Goldilocks would have. Whatever you choose, options are there. In any case, thank you so much for watching this video. Like the video if you do, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll catch you next time. Take care. Let's take this corner a little quicker. It's dumb. I actually really like AT tires because it reduces traction, and because it reduces traction, like you hear it whining more, and that's just more fun to me. I don't know. Is it? Maybe? I don't know. It is more for me. Maybe not for you, but for me, yes, absolutely.